Good morning, everyone. It's Gina from Gina K Designs, and I'm so excited to be here with you. Welcome to everyone from all over the US and all over the world. I'm looking at your comments coming in, and it's great to see you. We're going live a little bit earlier today because today I am having a piece of furniture delivered over at our new location for our new set, so we can move this studio over to our new location. And they decided to come earlier than we expected, so we thought we'd get to go live with you guys early today. So today we are going to do something really fun. I'm going to be using some of this Masking Magic masking paper, and I'm going to show you how you can create your own masks for ink blending and how you can get them even and centered on your cardstock, and you can change the shape of them based on the stamp images that you want to use. So for example, if you don't have all the right dies to cut holes out of Masking Magic, you don't necessarily need that as long as you have some kind of mat that has measurements on it, or what I'm going to use in my case is I'm going to use my Misti stamping tool, and I'm just going to use this grid here. Now, if you don't have the Misti stamping tool or you don't have the mouse pad, at the bottom of the Misti, if you have the Misti but you don't have the mouse pad, at the bottom of the Misti there is also a grid if you take the mat out, and you can use that grid as well for this technique. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take the mouse pad out, but either way you can also, I think the Tim Holtz mat has grids on it, and just about any craft mat will have grids that you can use. If you don't have grids or you don't have a mat, you can even use your Score Buddy. Anything that has lines going down it can be used for this technique. All right, so let me show you the stamp set that I'm going to use today. So I'm actually going to use more than one stamp set, but I did promise everyone that I would use the latest incentive set. And this one is really fun. It's called Mini Blossoms. And it's a building set, so you can use this as a silhouette stamp, doing it in all black, pardon me. But you can also do this stamp in green, and then you can do all kinds of inking techniques on the different flowers and pop them inside these open stems. So today, I think we're gonna do all black, but you know me, I never plan anything in advance, so let's just see how the inspiration hits. Now I have my We Are Memory Keepers paper cutter here, and I'm going to use a piece of this Masking Magic. Now the Masking Magic is great because it's reusable. It is very low tack, but it's certainly sticky enough to make sure that ink doesn't bleed underneath it. So this is a great thing for you to use. We have this in stock in our store right now. We just got another shipment yesterday, so this has been a very popular item for us. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my Masking Magic down. Let's see, I think I'm going to cut it this way. And this piece of Masking Magic is 5 by 7. Now we probably want to double check that. So just because, you know, things can be just a little bit off. So I'm going to just measure this real quick here and make sure that it's exactly 5 inches. And it is, it's exactly 5 inches. And then it is exactly 7 inches. So we know, I know you can't see that at the bottom, but I measured it with my professional Office Depot ruler, and I have to say that it is perfect. You're not late. You're not late, Sue. I decided to go live an hour earlier today because we have some furniture being delivered. Okay, so I'm going to cut this down to, let's see, if I've got 7 inches and I need 4, let's try 1.5 inches. So I'm going to take my first cut at 5.5 inches. And then I'm going to do my second cut at 4 inches. Then I'm going to do my next cut at 2.5 inches. And then my final cut at 1.5 inches. And this just gives me some big chunky strips of Masking Magic. Okay, so now for my cardstock, you can always use one of the Master Layouts dies for this technique. And why don't we do that? Because I want to make this as nice as I can here. I want this edge to be finished off really nicely. So I have my Master Layouts 2 die set here. And I'm going to, let's see, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Yeah, I'm getting a new island. I'm going to be using the old set from our other location, which consisted of some IKEA furniture, but we have a new island coming, and I'm really excited about it. And that's coming today at 1 o'clock. So Tom has to be over there because it's going to be heavy. I used to sit down when I stamped on my old videos, but I found that I'm a little more comfortable standing. Okay, so I'm going to cut, this is the stitch die from Master Layouts 2, and I'm going to just turn it a little bit. I know that's weird, but it goes through the machine a little bit easier if one corner goes through first. It's not as hard to get it through. Okay. Yes, thank you, Kim. I would love it if you would give this video a thumbs up if you like the video. If you don't like the video, I totally understand if you give me a thumbs down. All interaction is good interaction around here. And if you like this and you're watching on YouTube, or even if you're watching on Facebook but you like YouTube, come on over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. You'll always be the first to know when a new video goes up. And you will also, if you click the notification bell, you'll always get a little notification that'll say, oh, Gina K is going live, or Gina posted a new story or something like that. So, all right, I'm going to put this back into my Misti. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up against one of these lines, and I'm going to snug it in between two of these lines, okay? So it's going to fit right into the grid. You see that? Let me zoom in just a little bit more so you can actually see that better, okay? So you see I am putting it up against those lines there, and it's falling right into these lines down here. I'm going to tack it down with a little bit of the Gina K Designs tape. And this tape is really cool because I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that tape down there? I think you can.
Yes.
That will rub right off if I use my finger or a mono sand eraser. But once it attaches to another piece of cardstock and you let it sit for a minute, it becomes permanent. Okay, so I'm going to stick that right into this little box here. All right, so it's even. Now, I'm going to use my masking paper to mask parts of this off. And in order to get it perfectly even, to border all the way around, I'm just going to pick a grid line. So if I want to go 2 grid lines in, I can. If I want to go 3 in, I can. I can go as many in as I want. So for this first card, I'm going to go 2 in. So I'm starting my paper there. And then I'm making sure that it lines up down here at the bottom. Okay, and then I'm going to press that down. Now I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Right there on that side and down there on that side. So I went 2 in. So now I have even borders going down the side. I know this looks very, very bright right now, but once I get inking, you will see the difference. Now, the masking magic is very light, so you may not be able to see through this as much as I can, but I can see through it, and I can see where that second block is. It's right there and right there. So that gives me a nice straight line. So, like I said, it's transparent. It's hard to see on video, but it's definitely transparent enough that you can see where those 2 lines are. Okay, so now we've created this perfect space that's going to enable us to do some ink blending. So my first ink blending colors are going to be Turquoise Sea, Jelly Bean Green, and Wild Dandelion. I thought this would be a really fun color blend to do some silhouette stamping on top of. So I'm going to start with the Wild Dandelion, and I'm going to put this in my little ink stand here. I'm going to go on an angle. So I'm going to bring the color down on an angle this way for the yellow. Then I'm going to blend into green, and then I'm going to blend into turquoise. You always want to blend according to the color wheel. You don't want to try to blend, well, you could blend the yellow into the turquoise, but then you just get more green. So you want to kind of follow that Roy G. Biv, red, orange, let's see, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. I always say red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and then pink is my rainbow. That's my Roy G. Biv. Okay, so I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to create a nice blend going down the side here on an angle. And I want this color to be nice and vibrant because the other colors are pretty bright. Now, I'm not going to put this brush away yet. I'm going to go with some green here, some jelly bean. And let me just rub this brush off a little bit because I think I have had a little fresh asparagus on there. Okay, now this color, I'm going to bring it in from the side over here, and I'm going to use a very light hand for my first pass. I don't want it to be too strong. I want that color to be kind of light. So you can see I'm using a very, very light circular motion to brush that color. And what's great about this masking magic is I can use this over and over and over again. So once I cut it, I'm going to go back now with my yellow brush and blend down into that green a little bit to get a nicer fade. And then I'm going to go back and add a little bit more green, more toward the bottom. Now, the Gina K Designs ink is a dye-based ink, and when it first goes on, it's very similar to paint, like when you're painting a wall. When you first paint a wall with latex paint is kind of a water-based paint. As it starts to dry, it starts to look blotchy. And that's because some areas of the paint are drying faster than others. But once the whole thing is dry, and you might have experienced this where you paint the wall and you walk out of the room for a half an hour to go have lunch and you come back and it looks perfect. That's because it's all dried and everything smooths out. Our ink is the same way. Everything will just smooth out once it's completely dry. The ink pad holder, Speedcat Beth, it's from a company called the inkstandshop.com. Inkstandshop.com. And I think Brianne Loveland, who is the owner of that store, is here, and she can link it in the comments if you're looking for these ink stands. Okay, so now I'm going with some turquoise sea, and I'm going to work from the bottom, which is going to be my darkest turquoise. And I'm going to work my way up into that green. And you can see as I get into that green, that changes the color there. So I'm getting that nice fade, nice blend. I want to go a little darker down here. Now for this particular card, I think I'm not going to use the mini blossoms. I think I'm going to use Elegant Asters. And that's a stamp set that we've had in our collection for a long time. If you're new to Gina K Designs, one thing I have to let you know is that if you buy our stamps, I'm not going to make one video with them and then never use them again. I use our stamps over and over again because I love them and I believe in them, and I don't think that they ever feel dated to me. So I'm going to use Elegant Asters. This was a spring kit from years ago. And let me show you. It's this set here. Can you tell it's well loved? Look how black the stamps are. They're well loved. But I want to use this butterfly. I think this would be a really pretty butterfly card. So let's do that. Pardon me, I have a little throat issue going on today. I don't know what that's all about. So I think I'm going to stamp these by hand. So I'm going to use one of our bigger blocks. And I'm going to put that stamp on there. So if you can only afford 5 ink pads, Linda, here's what I recommend. Get red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. Because you can blend purple with the red and the blue, and you can create all different shades within that rainbow. And a lot of times I will just do a 5-color rainbow blend. So I think you would be happy with a red, a yellow, and a red and orange, a yellow, a green, and a blue. Or if you don't want to go blue, blue, go turquoise blue. I think those would be the great ones to start with. And hopefully you have a black ink pad anyway. So I'm going to use black onyx with this butterfly. It looks like Brianne is sold out on these ink stands, but they're going to have more soon. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so I'm going to stamp the first butterfly right in the center with one wing just a little bit off, okay? I'm going to give that a good press. There we go. Then I'm going to ink it up a second time. And I'm going to stamp it kind of coming in the other way, but like right off the cardstock. And I want to get good pressure because I'm stamping over that mask. And even though this masking paper is super thin, you still want to get as close to the edge as possible. So you need to put just a little bit more pressure. And then I'm going to do just a tiny bit of a wing down here. I think, let's see, maybe I'll come in right here like this. I want to have room for my greeting, although I could put my greeting underneath. Maybe I'll do that. Let's see. Let's see how it works. I have tiny greetings, so we can put a really tiny greeting in there if we have to. Okay. And this is a great way to use some of your really tiny greetings. So I don't want it to be exactly in the same orientation as that, so I might go a little more straight down here. I think. Yeah, we'll go like that. It's not exactly the same. It's just a little different. And I think it'll look a lot different once we pull the masks off. Okay. So now we have these 3 butterflies. I like stamping in 3s. I feel like it's very eye appealing to stamp in 3s. And let me clean up my stamp. This stamp is so well loved. It's just got ink embedded in it and embossing ink. I've used it so much, but you know what? A worn out, dirty stamp is a loved stamp. And that's what I want all my stamps to look like because that means I'm using them. So let me find the perfect little greeting here. I'm going to look at just a couple of our greeting sets. Gosh, we have so many. This might work really nicely at the bottom. This is called On My Mind and In My Heart. But let me think about it. Let's first take the masks off. So remember, we're going to preserve these masks so that we can use them again. Oh, yeah. I'm going to save these. Sometimes I just stick them right onto my stamp set like this if I use them a lot for the same stamp set. And then it's just there, you know, when I need it. I don't have to redo all of these all the time. Let's do this one next. Oh, that's so pretty. Once you get rid of all the junk around the sides, you can really see the beauty of how that ink blended so nicely together. So that's so pretty. I love that. And now I've got to decide where to put the greeting. Now we can always do something fancy, like we can take a little flag and we can put a flag right on there and stamp a greeting right on the flag. It doesn't even have to be centered. It can be a little off-centered like that. So maybe we'll do something like that. But let's do the greetings at the end. And we'll give this all a chance to just dry and get nice and pretty. So isn't that nice? It's so simple, so simple. You know, also another idea, make cards like this with no greeting and then box them up and give them as a set. There's no reason why it has to have a greeting. The greeting can be on the inside. So when that person wants to use this card and send a sympathy card, they can write their sympathy on the inside. And this could be a sympathy card, a thinking of you card, a birthday card. It could be anything that they want, really. So that's another way to just make generic cards for people, or make them for yourself. And then you don't have to, you know, think about Do I need to make this a sympathy card or a thank you card? You can just decide when you need it, what it needs to be, and add your greeting at that time. Okay, so let's make another one. I guess I should have cut out 2 of those, but I'm going to cut another one out here. Let me close up my ink too. I've got all my inks open, and I think the next one I'm going to do in a different color blend. But I like that color blend. That was really fun, really pretty. Okay, so here we go. Let's open up this die cutting machine. I'll also cut those black panels that I always like to do while I've got it open. So we're going to cut another master layouts too. This is a simple video with just minimal supplies, and I think that that's good because not everybody has a ton of supplies, and if you can only afford one master layouts die set, maybe this is the one for you to get started with, where you can see how you can use this. Okay. Elizabeth, my blending is really helped. Thank you for saying it's perfect. It's really helped a lot by the smoothing agent that's in our ink. Our ink kind of does that by itself. If you go back and watch the replay on this later, I mean, look how that's already completely smooth. It didn't really look that smooth when I was blending it, but it dries that way, and that's something I love about our ink. And also for this layout, you could have made the top one just 1 bar on the Misti and the bottom one 3 bars up on the Misti. So your whole frame would sit higher, and then you'd have room to stamp a greeting at the bottom. So you can adjust where you put those masks based on what kind of layout you want to do. Okay, so I have another one of these. Now I'm going to cut 2 black mats because I have to always have a little splash of black on every card. If you're new to Gina K Designs, you will probably see that in all of my card projects. And then every once in a while, I go without black, and it's pretty shocking. Everybody makes comments. Oh, Gina, yes, you have to make this card. If you like these kinds of clean and simple cards, definitely give this one a try. All right, so there's my first mat. I'll put that aside. I'm going to cut 1 more, so I'm being proactive. All right. Yeah, I love that color blend. That yellow, green, and blue is a nice, refreshing color combination. Oh, yeah, you definitely can do that, Anne. That's a great idea. Cut the sentiment strips and do 4 or 5 of them to give them they feel more like an actual embellishment then, as opposed to just a piece of paper. All right, so let's move this out of the way. All righty, now back to the Misti. So now for this one, I want to do a thinner look. So once again, I'm going to tape this down into a box here. And when I say a box, I mean I'm using the red grid lines on the Misti mat here. And I'm getting them perfectly in there so that I can see these and I can use these as my guide. So for this one, what I want to do is I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 in. Did I do 3 last time? No, I only did 2. So we're going to go 3 in on this one. Make sure it's even down there. And then just pat that. So yes, I'm taking my chances here. I don't know if this is 100% dry, but I think it is. 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to go here. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And line it up so it's at the 3rd one in at the top. Okay. Now for this, I'm only going to go, let's take a look. So this is a pretty long image. So I'm going to go 2 in. 1, 2. I can see it through the masking paper. 1, 2. There we go. And I'm going to go 2 in from the top. Let's see, 1, 2, right there. And 1, 2, there we go. That looks pretty good. I think it might be up a little higher on this side. So let's just fix that. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm making more of a skinny box down the center. And you see, if I didn't have a die that perfect size, you know, I don't need it because this is going to be perfect. I can just create it this way. So I'm going to do this lovely lavender, bubblegum pink, and sea glass. So I'm going to do that combination. I think that will be a really pretty combo for this. All right. So let's start with the bubblegum. So I have a light pink brush that I was working with earlier. Okay. So let me move this all over here. So I'm going to start with the bubble gum. Doesn't that sound like a woodpecker? Rena pointed that out when it's in the stand. Listen real close. Tom's got his headphones on. I'm just confirming that everybody can hear it. All right, and I'm going to start up here at the top, and I'm going to work this color in. Now you can see this is bleeding a little bit of color, and I'm sorry about that. Probably what I should do is let that dry completely before I start working on this, but I don't have the patience to do that. So we're going to have a little bleed of color in here, but that's all right. It might look kind of cool. Let's see how it looks. We're going to bring it in. We're going to go with it. All right. And then my next color is going to be the lovely lavender. Now, if you don't have masking magic and you really want to do this today, you can always, I might want to use a darker purple here. I think I do. I think I want to use a little bit of wild lilac. I'm going to do that. You can always use cardstock. It's not going to be quite as tight of a seal, but you know, you'll get some seal. You can also use Post-it notes. That would work as well. But sometimes you have to find like longer ones, or I guess you could string them together. Of course, masking magic is my favorite. It's the easiest, and plus you can use it for a lot of other things. Okay. This might look really interesting with a little bit of that blue blending in there. We're going to go with it. I'm going to get more pink on here. I could go with a hot pink. It's funny though, you know, once this is all blended, even if it's got that little edge, you might like that edge. Okay, so that's the pink. And now we're going to go with the turquoise sea. I mean the sea glass. But now I'm thinking maybe I'll go back with turquoise sea again because I used a darker purple. So let's do that. Let's go with turquoise sea. You're right. I could have used the other end of the masking. Well, yes, I could have. You're right. I should have. That would have been so much smarter. Thank you. I could have used these edges is what Cheryl was saying. And that would have made a lot more sense. Thank you, Cheryl. See, it takes a village. It really does. It absolutely takes a village to raise me. But now I'm in too deep, right? I have to just finish here. But you can see now this bottom is drying. You might have a little bleed on the black, but that's all right. We're going to leave it all put together here. And we're going to do the stamping again, and then we'll peel it off. Should we do that? No, you know why? Here's why. We're not going to do that. We're going to peel first. And I'll tell you why. This design is going to go outside of the lines. And I really want it to do that. So let's go outside of the lines on purpose. Okay. So let's peel and reveal. Yep, we have a little bit there. That might get covered up by the design though. We'll see. Okay. Oh, I love peeling this off and just seeing how crisp the edges are. Why did I cut my nails? There we go. Okay. All right, so we're going to use the stem first on this. And now that my cardstock's right in the Misti, I'm just going to use the Misti. Put it right here. And let me take a look at the design again. So we want the end to go off a little bit. I think we can move it to the side too and have it go off a little bit like that off the side. And then we can fit the greeting right there next to it. Okay, so this is going to be stamped in black. Just for the drama of it. Okay, let me get my Chucky tool. This is a brand new stamp. It's the first time I'm using it. Oh, I love that. It looks so weird like that, but it's going to be so pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to use an acrylic block to stamp my flowers. So let me get a smaller one here. I have two. I think this will be plenty big enough though. So we're going to start with the biggest flower. That's this one down here, and we're going to stamp that right in there. Now, I know we could have done this as all one image, but this gives you the versatility to use it as a silhouette design or to stamp it in different colors and do different techniques. Okay, here we go. And we'll stamp that right in here. Love that. Okay. Now we'll stamp the next size up, which is this one right here. We're going to stamp that in the middle, the bottom middle. These are inking up really great for the first use. Okay, we'll go right here. And then we're going to use that third one that's right up here. Right there. And we'll add that little bud, this little bud right on the top. Tracy, I usually do start at 1 p.m. I usually do start at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Today, we've got some furniture being delivered at our new location, so we had to go a little bit early. So I'm sorry that you missed the first half, but I promise the replay will be there. All right, and now I'm going to stamp the greeting. Where should I stamp it? Should I stamp it up here? Well, we can look, we can check. So I could stamp it like right in here. You are the best. I could stamp it down here. You are the best. I think I kind of like it right there because it feels like there's an emptiness there. So I'm going to put it right there. You are the best. There we go. And this is a classic hand-lettered greeting. So, you know, it doesn't have to be perfectly straight because it's not perfectly straight because it's all scripty. All right, let me use a ink cube for this greeting. I'm using the same black onyx, but I'm using the ink cube. It's a little bit easier for me to control. Okay, we'll stamp that. Get Chucky in. Oh, that's pretty, isn't it? That is pretty. Now, aside from my little smudges on the side, and they're not really terribly awful, but you can see where my black butterflies bled through, but you get the idea, right? And you can see that that ink, other than those little areas, that really blended nicely together. Okay, so now what are we going to do with the greeting on this other one? I feel like I want to have a greeting. So I think is I'm going to look now that this is all dry. I'm going to look and see how something like this would look down at the bottom. You're on my mind and in my heart. I feel like it's going to make the card look unbalanced because the greeting is further down on the card. I feel like I need even a smaller greeting. So let me see if I have even a smaller greeting in this collection of mine. Ooh. I can also do something really tiny like hello friend or I miss you. No. This is where I struggle. We all struggle at times, right? I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe I should just leave it. How about I'm here for you? And it doesn't have to be on the color. It can be off the color, like I'm so sorry. Let's do that. That would be a really nice sympathy greeting. And I actually, unfortunately, do need a sympathy card right now. So I'm going to make this as the sympathy card that I need. And I'm going to have it just extend outside of the box. And that will draw your eye a little bit to it so you can read the greeting and, you know, focus on the fact that it is a sympathy card. Okay. You know, I didn't even stick this down on anything. I don't know what I'm doing here. Let me go up to the top corner. You guys, that was almost a disaster. Okay. I'm so sorry. There we go. Okay. So now that that's tucked into the corner of the Misti, we don't have to worry if I need to stamp it a second time. I don't think I will, though. Let's just give it a little press there. Oh, yeah. See, I feel like that is just the perfect little greeting, and I love that it extends past the design. Very fun. I don't know if it's fun, but you know what I mean. Okay. I mean, sympathy cards aren't fun, but the whole technique is fun, and that's what we're focusing on today, the fun of stamping. Make yours a happy one. Okay, so now let's assemble these cards. Now the card base color, sometimes when I do ink blending like this, I really just like a super simple white card base. I feel like it's, I don't know, it doesn't take away from all of the beautiful colors in the card panels, but I would like to look at it anyway, just to see. Now I have one here. Where'd the other one go? Did I seriously lose it? See, I lose everything on my desk. Oh, here it is. Usually it's when I start to make another one because I've lost it that I find it. Okay, so we'll adhere this one together first. And remember, just like me, you know, when you're trying something out for the first time, which is kind of what I do on every live, I'm just trying things and seeing how they work. You know, don't worry if you don't like these little marks, just make another one. It's a piece of paper. And at least this was the practice run, right? Okay, so let me see what color card bases I have ready to go. So this would actually look very pretty on possibly an ocean mist card base. That would be very soft and pretty, wouldn't it? Kind of like that. It would also look really pretty on a sea glass card base. And I think that might even look a little better because this lends itself more to sea glass. You can see the difference in color when they're side by side. See how ocean mist is more blue and sea glass is more almost like a sea foam. It has a little bit of that green. So let's do that. And then for this one, I think bubblegum would be the right color to play off of that really soft pink. However, remember when I was going to use Lovely Lavender? If we want this to be a softer look, because the bubblegum and the wild lilac really make a nice blend of Lovely Lavender, I think maybe that would be an appropriate color. You like the smudges, Patty? Awesome. Can you trim the white off and remount it? I sure could. It does extend, and I did that on purpose, so I'd really have to fussy cut around that, and I'm not sure that I want to do that. But I'm okay with it. I don't mind it. I think, you know, what I probably should have done is taken a little sponge dauber with a little bit of gray ink and just gone real lightly around the edges, and that would have kind of created a gray frame. But I didn't think about that. Now it's too late. But if you do that, try that and see if that makes a difference for you. All right, so we have that. I'll be honest, guys. This color combination is really jazzing me, and it's the same color combination that's in my shirt today. And I was looking at my shirt when I was getting ready this morning, and I thought, I'm going to have to do a card with that. I feel like I have Moonlit Fog in this shirt too, but really fun colors to combine. All right, so there are my finished cards. That's super simple, quick and easy. And like I said, you don't have to put those greetings in right away. You can just go ahead and make your boxes whatever shape you want. You can do slimline cards this way with long pieces of masking paper. So you can have, the box size is endless on this technique by using the masking magic. It's endless. You can do whatever you want. All you need is a mat or some kind of grid that you can use that extends past the box on your cards. Well, that was super fun today. I know we're going to end about 15 minutes early, and that's because that island is coming. It's a big island that's going to sit kind of like I have here. And then we have IKEA stuff behind us, and we're building that studio over there. So we got to be there because I have to see where it's going to go. I have to position it. You know, once they put that thing down, it's like 400 pounds. It's not going to move. So I want to be there to say, no, can you move it over an inch this way and over an inch that way? They're going to hate me when I'm done. But, you know, got to have it right, right? And you see what I mean? My shirt kind of matches my card today, doesn't it? Yeah. The yellows and the turquoise. This has a little Moonlit Fog in it too. So I might add that into another card project at another time. All right, guys. Well, thank you all so much for joining me today. I will be back next Monday for another Stampin' Chat Live. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy. I love you all so very much, and I'll see you again real soon. Mwah. Bye-bye.